Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, my previous colleagues started asking how many of you know their animal. So I don't want to be disappointed if I ask how many of you have seen a spectacled bear in the wild. Oh yeah, I have 3. Yeah, that's awesome. But instead, maybe I can ask how many of you know that the story of the Paddington Bear is related to Peru? Yeah, that's great. That makes me feel better. Well, as Paul has said, we are working to protect this big animal. The cub in the photo is Justina. Justina is one of the first cubs that we observed in the wild, and actually the sheep is now 14 years old. And yeah, all these years we monitoring Justina and other bears in a population, in a unique population in northern Peru, and that has given very good information about what to do in terms of conservation. But, okay. This was my first encounter with the spectacled bear, 15 meters away from where I was. And you know, this animal was this size, it's longer than me when I'm not as tall, but it's been very spectacular this moment for me, but also because seeing a black big animal, 15 meters away was a bit scary. But what we started to understand is the Andean bear, because most of the range of this species is also in the Andes of South America. This is mostly eating on vegetables. 90% of the diet of the spectacled bears are plants. And they are very playful, as you can see in this video, that they are sharing the food, eating the greens. But the story of the spectacled bear is also related to how the human population has expanded in all the South America. This map shows what it should be the distribution of the spectacled bear in Peru 500 years ago. Now it looks like this. So approximately 50% of the habitat of this species have disappeared because of the fragmentation, because of the expansion of the populations in Peru. And by the way, Peru has the largest population of the Andean bears in all of South America. So it's a big challenge when we have to think about how to protect the habitat of a big animal, like an Andean bear. So that's why we need to combine our strategies to protect all the habitat for this animal. So, for example, in the map you can see how we are working with a national protected area, which is in light green, with an indigenous community land, and also with a piece of land that we want to purchase, which is a key feeding area for this animal. But when we are trying to protect the bears, what is only behind the bears? And 60% of the wildlife in all the Andes, in all the mountains in South America, share the habitat with the Andean bears, with the spectacled bears. Cats. Every year there are more records of new species discovered for science, like these orchids in Machu Picchu. But the story of the bear is not only related to wildlife, but also related to human culture, again, in all the Andes in South America. This pottery is from the Moche culture. They live in the same area in the dry forest where we are working now, and they may be considered as a god. Like now, there is a big celebration. The largest peregrination that we have now is in the area around Cusco, is related to the bears. As you can see, this man is dressed like a bear. And thousands of people dressed like bears, and the Quechua name for the bear, by the way, is the ukuku. They walk to the glaciers every year to thanks to the Apus, to the mountain god. But the mountains is a very difficult ecosystem, probably for an animal, which in our case, we are focused to study and protect the bears in the dry forest ecosystem in northern Peru. And maybe you've seen this video before, but can you imagine a big animal with a black fur maybe black as I am dressed. But walking in some days when the weather can be around 100 Fahrenheit degrees. So that is the kind of adaptation that this population has. Even the food is not available all the year because it's very seasonal. So these bears have to be adapted to feed on even the trunks of the trees. And the water is the other thing that is very scarce in the ecosystem. So there are just few water holes after the rainy season that remains during the year, and that is where these animals and all the wildlife have to, provide water. This is how usually the landscape of the habitat of the bear in northern Peru looks like. But after the small rainy season that we have, some of them related to the Niño rains, it can turn into like this green landscape. And for sure, when there is more green, when there's more life, bears like Justina, again, here is Justina, can be very healthy. They have more resources to feed on, but this is just a small period, the time during the years, and even during the 1 year, because the rainy season in our country is just 3 months, probably from December to February, from January to March, and the rest of the years is very dry, as the landscape that I showed you. So what happened in those months, what happened in those years, then we have a severe drought. So bears are adapted and they lost weight. And it is very hard for them because it is how they affect the survival of the female, how they are affecting the survival of the cubs. And as I told you, Justina is 14 years old now. She had 5 litters. And from the 5 litters she had, only 1 bear has survived. But it's not only for bears, which is difficult to live in an ecosystem like this, even for people. So for many years, and as the climate is warming every year, so the conditions for the people in an area where we are working is also very hard. And also for our staff. Our staff have to spend many hours in the field trying to spot a bear, trying to collect all the information. Yeah, and there is no shades in the area. So, but all these conditions, and every year, probably, again, as the climate is changing, is very challenging. So this photo is a forest fire that we had in February this year, close to the area that we are working. And it's a sample how this, year by year, we are losing surface of bear habitat, because this bear population needs not only the mountains, they also needs the flat areas to feed on the specific, that tree that is that is surviving. This is a zapote tree that gives a fruit that provides, the calories for the females to get fat. So, but again, back to the water holes, which is, they remain just small holes of water during most of the year, and they are visited by years. This is the only source of water for the bears, for wildlife. This is how they interact in this. They need these water holes to thermoregulate when all the females and males usually meet each other. But rather, shortly after this video, we got this. Yeah. So there is also domestic animals, cattle, dogs. Some of them are feral dogs, probably visiting the same area. So that is several many threats that we are facing now. But yeah, with all the support that we are having from you, we are starting changing the scenario for the bears in the dry forest. So we have been purchasing land. We started the restoration programs with the key to provide water to make the plants that are part of the bear food available, but also by building water holes. If the water is a limited source we need to build water holes. So, and this photo makes a milestone for us. This is an artificial waterhole that we built a year and a half ago. And this photo was taken in February this year. And this is the first visit that Justina is visiting the waterhole. That's a good sign for us. We're very, happy to see this. But we need to purchase more land. We need to protect more land. As I told you before, we are now to protect a big piece of land in the middle of a landscape. So we need to raise $1.5 million to purchase and protect 5,000 acres of key habitat for this population of bears. That is one of the main goals that we have now. But it's not only working with the bear habitat, we also need to work with communities around these areas. So that's why we have this Felty program. We are working with around 100 ladies of the rural areas close to the bear habitat, producing these Felty products that you can purchase, by the way, on the booth. It's very interesting that a third of all the ladies that are working with us in this program are single parents. So the income that they are providing for the families is key also for the family economy. Yeah, and this is this animal that we are selling in markets here in North America. And we see potential through this program just to engage more communities, to engage women, to provide a source of living for the populations in the bear habitat. And as I told you, if we have dogs visiting the water holes in the forest, we also need to work with pets. And the relationship, the community with the pets, and even the children with the pets in the rural areas is not as many of you have in the cities. Some of the animals has disease, they don't have vaccination. So that's why we are providing now services to improve the health of these animals. And it's a way also to engage new generations in the new thinking how to care animals and wildlife. Yeah, they are very happy. Every time we are going to provide vaccines to the animals, they are the first one to give us the dogs. But it's not only the work that we are doing in northern Peru with all the experience that we had for 15 years. Now we've moved to the southern Peru and an iconic area. I'm not sure you can see, but this is the Machu Picchu ruins. And as you can see, it's surrounded by an incredible forest. So this area is spectacular. It combines nature, culture, and it's also, this is a key bear habitat. And this is a place where the bear probably has been, coexistent with people, with the Incas for many centuries. But now that coexistence is changing. Because again, Machu Picchu is probably the area where most of the tourists are going when they're going to Peru. More than 1 million people is visiting Machu Picchu every year, and that is creating also an impact. And also for local people who is living in the area, before the creation of the national park in Machu Picchu, that is also affecting the bear habitat and all the wildlife that is in the park. But the Peruvian government has also a big project that we are supporting. That is Machu Picchu. It's very close to the lowland Amazon. This is another big national park. This is the Manu, probably one of the largest national parks that we have in Peru. The project that we have now is to create a biosphere reserve that can join both parks. And most of that initiative is related to bears. Actually, when the Peruvian government started to think how to protect big piece of habitat, big piece of land for the wildlife, is also because the bears was one of the key species why they created Machu Picchu. Not only the ruins and all the Inca, but because of the bears. So last year we started a big program, the largest program, putting camp traps in the Machu Picchu area. So we know now that there are around 29 big bears in the Machu Picchu, but this is just the beginning of our program there, because we wanted to understand how bears are moving in this area. How are they using this landscape? And as you can see, it's very hard to walk to understand how they are moving in this part of this around 40,000 hectares of area, and how they're also using the surrounding areas far from the limits of the protected areas. So that's why we are now with the goal to put collars bears. We want to put satellite collars, and we start baiting bears. This is just a week, it's a week ago. And this is also a good sign for us because, as I told you at the beginning, these bears are mostly vegetarians. But how to catch an animal, just by putting, because we don't know what kind of vegetable is the best one in Machu Picchu. So we try with meat. And it's good because they are visiting the trap too. So we are very, very excited the moment that it's coming. For probably in the next weeks or months, we are going to catch bears and put collars. And yeah, before coming here to the Expo, we were in San Diego with, to pick up the 3 first collars that we have. And but we need more. Actually, we need to understand more because this is a big, larger area than we have in northern Peru. So, again, if we want to protect the bear, if we want to protect an animal, this is like an umbrella to protect different other wildlife in Peru and South America. We need land. We need big pieces of land. We need to purchase this piece of land and make the coexistence with the local communities, to happen more often. Thank you so much.